North Carolina is still grappling with the crushing destruction of Helene.
2 weeks now since Hurricane Helene's impacts were first felt, thousands are without water and power.
Swannanoa, which is one of the hardest hit areas.
Absolutely heartbreaking. One of the hardest communities that I saw that was hit, the Swannanoa River came out of its banks and just ripped homes off the foundation.
Right now, rescuers in North Carolina are facing obstacles everywhere.
Bodies are being recovered following the devastation of Hurricane Helene in the southeast.
93 people have been killed. That number is likely to keep rising.
More than 100 people continue to mourn their loved ones. More than 200 people are now confirmed dead.
The storm has claimed the lives of at least 225 people.
The issue many search and rescue teams are running into is the lack of access due to roads damaged by the storm. Around 6,000 damaged road sites across western North Carolina.
We were 15 feet away from being crushed, leaving our 2 kids, and God knows what would have happened to them.
Massive mudslides. You can see the path of destruction. Several homes just gone.
Hurricane Helene, now the deadliest hurricane since Katrina. More than 200 people now confirmed dead, hundreds still unaccounted for.
So, on September 27th, we got hit with historic floods here. Nobody thought it would be as bad as it was. We thought maybe there would be some power outages, and currently we're on day 9 or 10 of no power, no water. Crazy destruction everywhere, all throughout Swannanoa, a lot of Asheville. So we've just been doing whatever we can do to help out, just helping get people out of their houses, getting out of blocked mountain roads, getting people food and water. And yesterday we finally kind of got to a point where we feel like we can put down the chainsaws and pick up our cameras and try to tell a little bit about this story that's happening here, because the news stations, they're getting the businesses and like kind of the mainstream economic view of what's happening, but I think that Cam and I realize that we have a capacity to tell the story of the people here, and I think that not a lot of that story is being told, so we want to try to go out today and tell some of that story if we can, and just show, I guess, what it's looking like here on the ground on day 9 of this whole western North Carolina historic disaster. So we just drove up super sketchy mountain road to the top of Long Branch Road to visit who I call my uncle, Tim. On Saturday, this was one of the first places I tried to go. I actually tried to go Friday, but the roads were way too bad to get a truck or a motorcycle through, and the main bridge to get onto this mountain completely blown out, so I hiked up here fucking barefoot. I was coming down with a fever. It was a crazy moment for me, but I was like, I just have to get to them. Once I found out people died, I was like, I have to make sure they're okay, and they're just trying to get by, trying to get enough gas up here, propane and food and water, so that they can kind of continue to survive. So we're gonna go talk to Uncle Tim and see what his experience has been like. Yeah. Dude, so what the fuck's been going on, Tim?
We had 36 hours of non-stop rain, just continuous, and I knew things were getting wet. The ground was getting like gelatin. We already started to have some trees down, but on Thursday night it was getting pretty wacky, and by that morning at 6:15, one of my tenants banged on the window and abruptly and said, stuff's getting real. You know, with anything we have, it's barely daylight. With any tools we had and any cabling and chains and rope systems, and we ran down as trees are falling around us, literally encapsulating cars and not destroying, just like wrapping around them. We got across our entrance, our bridge, water up to our knees. I mean, racing, like if you fell, you would be, you know, definitely out of there. The street was now a river. We lashed down the RVs. We made a human chains out into the water. I'm up to my belly in raging brown water. Now the barely light's coming out, but widowmakers are flying by. Stuff's happening all around us. There's a tornado that's touchdowns close to us. It's spinning trees down. We had the cars on the street. The cars are getting hit and breaking the windows out with stuff. It got explosive. I mean, it's like the Beachree Reservoir, which is what our property abuts. That area is a disaster zone. It's like something exploded. River rocks as big as me are being rolled down the street. I mean, the amount of torrent that it takes to move that type of density is got to be, I mean, I don't know what the foot-pounds would be. It'd be outrageous. Yeah. But that's all down the street. And then down below where there's total annihilation, it's beyond what you can imagine as far as when you're in the gully down there. And they had a lot of old trailer parks, things that were probably way close to the river. I don't know if they could even had flood insurance or any water insurance because they're in the floodplain. They won't let those people move back. That'll be cleared and probably turned into green space. That all that stuff down on the, right in Swannanoa by the Ingalls and by the coffee shop, that'll probably just become a green space because it's inevitable.
Cool, man.
Yeah, it's there's going to be a lot of work to do. That's for sure.
Cool, man. Well, I'm glad to have you in it. I'm glad you're involved with the community. It's cool to see you rallying up the Bee Tree community in the Long Branch, and I'm just glad that you're okay, man. I climbed to the fucking top of this mountain to make sure your ass is okay.
I know. I saw you coming through the hemlocks. There I go. What the heck?
No shoes, no shirt, and a backpack. I was ready, dude. I was ready to cut you out of this house. So this is where we're at yesterday. We brought some chainsaws out and just helping to clear out all this road. It's been pretty tight in here. It's just a massive amount of giant, pretty old growth trees. That was a pretty big hazard. And you can still see all this road along where the culvert is and the river. It's all just fucking destroyed. But yeah, it was cool to come help out and get a lot of shit done for these people. So this is one of the biggest landslide areas that we've seen. All of this came down, and this is where they think a twister came through because of the way that some of the trees have been snapped off, and you can actually see they're twisted halfway up. Either way, I mean, we don't know if it's actually a twister, but the wind coming through here was insane. In tangent with the landslides, in tangent with the water, taking out the culverts, degrading the road underneath so that these sections, obviously this was a 2-lane road at one point. All this is just gone. I mean, this whole thing went over. There's an embankment on the side. All of it's just been taken out. That's another really interesting thing too. Dan was having some crazy brain fog, and so was Linda. I feel that too. After just so much uncertainty, you just kind of start getting kind of cloudy. I don't know, just lack of integration and processing all this stuff. It's just so much. So as Tim mentioned, the people down below the river were the ones who really lost everything, and it was really important for us to use this project to give voice to those people. And it's such a strange thing to go out and look for that in people, but we were driving along the river and we saw this guy setting up his tent and hollered out to him, and he was down to talk.
Well, basically, woke up in a dash, about 6:30, 7 o'clock. It was pouring the rain. The water had already come up to the porch, and within 30 minutes, it was waist deep in the living room. Okay. We thought we was gonna put stuff up on countertops and stuff, and save a few things, and just grab light, and we left. And before we got to the road, man, the house was making U-turns going down the Swannanoa River. Ain't much to pick up. It's all either in the water or underground. It's amazing how stuff can just, through a flood and the dirt that it brings in. Picking up pieces and seeing where we're standing at. Right here, as you can tell, was a 3-bedroom house on this foundation here. And there was actually a block storage unit right here. And how it managed to sweep away the concrete, it's gone too, you can't even see where it was. But where the lawnmower is right there, there was a double wide trailer sitting right there, which is my friend's, and a trailer sitting across the driveway there. It completely destroyed everything, it didn't leave much, and probably what stuff I'm picking up here isn't even ours, it's the people's up there, Yeah. Most of our stuff is down there. I read a lot of texts on the internet before we lost all our power. Everybody's talking about our little town's destroyed and stuff. I don't believe that. We're gonna build something better.
Back. Yeah.
Swannanoa's gonna it's a valley.
I'm glad to hear a positive outlook like that, man. That's nothing to take for granted.
Yeah.
That's something special, and people need that out here more than ever.
Right.
A lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
We've been talking to people all day, and a lot of people are just down bad. So it's cool to see, man.
All the garages that were on the strip here, they're all knocked down. I work at Davidson's Automotive up in Buckeye Cove, and it's untouched, you know. And,
Really?
when we go back to work, we're probably going to be really busy, you know. Nobody opened up to do anything.
Yeah.
But it won't take long. These places will be fired back up. I believe it.
I was like one of the heaviest things we've seen today. I was like, do you live here? He's like, this is my address. My house is here. That's the foundation of my house. And everything just like kind of clicks into place and you're like, holy fuck. And he's like, there's a 3-bedroom house right here. It's just so heavy. It's so heavy. But in all the heaviness, like almost every time, like there's an equal amount of beauty in it as well. Like he's just stoked. He believes. This is his valley and like they're gonna live here, they're gonna rebuild. He's going to work again soon, and I don't know, it's just like the full range of human emotions. Like there's smiles and like laughs and jokes and tears and sadness and fear and hope and joy. So what's it been like for you, like over the past week? I mean, obviously it's a lot of like excitement and just like chaos, survival, right? And now we're kind of settling in. Like, what's it looking like moving forward?
Interesting. I mean, you see a different side of people, for sure. You know, we have the neighbors over here, a younger guy, Michael, and then an older gentleman, Jim. They actually saved an entire family. You know, and you wouldn't even know that anything happened. You know, they're totally business as usual.
The community's definitely coming together. You definitely also see like some kind of shittier people, like just kind of reclusing into themselves and doing their own thing.
Sure, a good friend of mine. I was over at their house yesterday and counted 19 jars of peanut butter, unopened. And I was like, wow, you know, that's cool. That's like complete opposite of, you know, the frame of mind that we've been in, you know, like if I get 2 jars of peanut butter, well, somebody else can have one now, you know, like you see definitely the different sides of people, because the explanation in that household was, well, they're going to stop giving supplies, so we better hold on to stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't blame you for wanting to make sure you're going to be able to feed your house, you know, but I guess it's a faith thing, sort of, you know, like if I give, it's going to be returned.
Tim was mentioning that all these people are in a floodplain, so apparently a lot of these people won't have like had insurance, which is a really kind of stark thing to realize, that, you know, because they are on a floodplain, because where this is, even though nothing's happened for like over 100 years, I think the last one was in like 1912, that a lot of this is not really going to be rebuilt in the same way, and a lot of it's probably just going to be made into greenways, and they're not going to allow people to have their homes, and, you know, they might not have looked that great, and it's easy to like kind of, I don't know, people, I feel like in the city kind of disregard people that live in trailers, but the reality is like hundreds of people lived out here in these homes and along these riverbanks, and it's just gone now. As Lynn said, they're not even really worried about cleaning up the debris, they're more worried about just like getting bodies out of here and just taking care of like the official stuff, which is just another kind of reality that I kind of like have to catch myself on. Like, we're talking about like how much debris is still here, and obviously they're here trying to clean up the church, but the priority right now is just finding bodies, which is heavy. This is actually my friend's church. His parents had a house right up the road. I didn't realize until I got in here, but these are the pictures that he posted recently. It's just fucking crazy. There's something to just like being at this church too, where people used to gather every weekend and probably all throughout the week along the banks of this river, never really expecting anything and really going there for a place of safety. And just wild, like everything that you hold on to and the structures that make up your reality can just be gone in a second. Search and rescue guy up there now.
Beyond all the obvious destruction and trauma, one of the most just surprising things we continued to run into was how much love there actually was here, not just from neighbors and communities, of which there was a ton, but also from people out of state, from all over, just to come here and make sure that people were okay.
So this is the Cajun Navy outpost, one of them, the Swannanoa one. I think they have this is one of maybe 4 or 5 different outposts. This is basically a conglomerate of different smaller nodes of veteran organizations who've come out with ATVs and trailers and RVs and dirt bikes and obviously food, water, medical supplies. And they've come out to help. And these organizations, these local kind of militia groups were really all we had for the first few days, in terms of getting people out of houses and getting out to hard to reach areas on ATVs and 4-wheelers and dirt bikes. These were the people that were really making this shit happen. But these are some really, really awesome Americans who are really doing some amazing stuff and coming in from all over. We talked to some guys from the Outer Banks. There's guys from, obviously it's the Cajun Navy, a lot of them are from Louisiana. There's guys from Nebraska here. So we'll try to get in and see if we can talk to some people and see if anybody wants to say anything about what they've had going on here. Should we just pull up right next to them?
I don't know, maybe right there.
Go past them so they have to look.
So they have to look at the dirt bike?
Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
How about it?
How y'all doing?
I can't complain. How about you?
Good, good.
So where are y'all from?
Canton, north of Atlanta.
Okay, cool. Why'd y'all come out here?
Because I would hope that somebody would do this for me.
Yeah.
There's people need stuff and they don't have stuff. And imagine sitting in the woods and your house is gone and you can't cook food, you don't have where to drink, you don't have anything to wipe your ass with, you don't have clean clothes.
Yeah.
What clothes are on you are dirty and wet and muddy. That's when people need to come together. All these hillbillies and rednecks, I say. And I say that in a positive tone about people.
I think it's the best tone, man. These are the people I want to be around.
Those are your true grit people.
Yeah, it's like the last of the American spirit. That's kind of what we look for and what we want a lot of times. Where the fuck is America? This is it right here.
Right. This is what it looks like. When you see ATVs running up and down the road and side by sides with water and food and diapers and formula, that's the way it works. And whatever the government wants to say and whatever FEMA wants to try to do, hillbillies are going to beat you. I don't know what else to do. I've got work to do when I get back to Atlanta, but I'm okay for quite a while doing this, and I have not received a dime from anybody down here. Before I left, a buddy of mine offered me $200 to put some fuel in my tank, and I thought, wow, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So then he says, hey, can you send me your Venmo? So I sent him our Venmo information. Puts it up on Facebook before I left on Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. Now, this was Wednesday night when this started. Mm-hmm. He came to my house and it was dark when he gave me the $200 and Venmo'd my wife. Mm-hmm. By 8 o'clock the next morning, we had $4,000 in donations. Came down here and gave away tarps and cook stoves and gas fuel, the LP fuel tanks, and I don't feel like we're doing enough. I wish I could do a lot more. You got to think about the people that were already on the edge before this happened.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, man. You barely hanging on.
This pushes a person over the edge to the point where they already thought that their life had no meaning, and now they have nothing, and now they can't imagine that they have meaning. Yeah. But those people, we need to sit around and talk with them and make sure they know that there's other people here. I've been doing videos on TikTok and showing people, and I started doing video and I got choked up. I had to stop the video and I'd start all over. Because when you see cars that are flipped over and wads of brush up against them and houses are down the creek, tell me you can compute that in your brain. That's tough. So whatever we can do. Don't deserve it. Don't get me wrong. But have a good day.
Can I get that mic, brother?
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate you, dude.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
Boys. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dude, this has been one of the best organized areas that I've seen, and honestly one of the few neighborhoods that felt pretty safe throughout all this. We had a lot of aid coming in. This is getting ready to organize in about an hour, so people are pulling in, bringing generators, bringing water for people to flush their toilets and shit.
Using words like looters and words like failing in what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to misinterpret what you're saying, and I don't take that in a bad way, but I think this is worth stressing.
It is.
That we all need to just take a step back from that and remember that what we're here for is taking care of the person standing in front of them and engaging in them. And when the power will be on, I have nothing but love and faith for those people. They're going to get me back on when they can. And my spreading any kind of expectation about that is, it doesn't help the situation. What does help the situation is giving a kid a cookie and setting up soccer and providing Wi-Fi and making sure that the old guy who's been in his cove with his wife and they got a tree off his house finally stumbles down here, has a warm face like my friend here to get in their face and ask them how they're doing and how his wife is doing, and make sure that he, when he goes back to that house, he knows we're here and we care about him. That's our job.
We're very fortunate to have, a handful of folks who know how to be the adults in the room, and that gives, the rest of us the capacity to, meet folks where they are, like mentally and emotionally. This is, like, it looks fine now, but a couple of blocks down from here, people were like swept away.
Yeah.
Our neighbors saw other neighbors screaming for help on top of their trailers getting washed down a river.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pretty visceral trauma.
Yeah.
And even those of us who are fortunate to not see it or be directly in it, we're helping other folks deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be over this week.
No.
That's going to be a thing that takes a long time.
Months, probably.
We're all equal now. There's no rich, there's no poor, there's no black, there's no white. This is an even plane. We all are in the same situation. We give people dignity and respect. Like, there was a gentleman who found a body, and he was an ex-Marine. And any of us that served our country understand that you stand guard until you can properly give that person to the people who are going to take care of him. And he stood guard.
Yeah.
I mean, that brought tears to my
That's
eyes,
something,
man.
man.
Like, there's this older gentleman, man. Like, that's powerful. His life is in jeopardy too, but he's going to protect the life that's already gone so that their next transition is done with dignity and respect and honor. Yeah. And that's what the people need to get back to. Kids need to be playing coloring books and kicking balls and running around, riding bikes. And this is a humbling experience to get us back to being humans and humanity taking care of each other. We don't need no heroes. This is the heroes. People like you reporting and you guys coming out and, again, risking your life to get information to share and document so that people know truth. Not speculation or rumors. This is truth.
Alright, so, that's pretty much a wrap. We've been filming all day since like 10 a.m. and got everything that we could. We talked to people, we talked to volunteers, we talked to people who are down bad, people who are down in rural areas, and got everything pretty much other than firefighters and cops. We couldn't really get any of them to talk to us because they're not allowed to say anything. And it's definitely concerning just to see the level of distress that people are still in. Toby down there, a tent in front of where his house used to be. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to that guy, and I don't think he knows. It's beautiful to see that he has hope, but there's a reality that Western North Carolina is going to need help for a long time, and this is not just a passing thing. And I hope that we've been able to illustrate that and show you guys, like, inside what's actually going on, like, just the depth of destruction, and like just the depth of destruction that came through here is immense, and it's going to take months for this place to even kind of return to normalcy. If it ever will be the same again, I don't think that it will, but it's definitely going to take months of dedicated effort, and it will return to being just the people and their efforts again. There's a reality, like, we are out of touch with nature. Our society, our infrastructure is incredibly delicate, and it's just going to take a lot of work. So all I would ask is that people don't give up in Western North Carolina. We're going to need help out here for a long time, and to continue to donate to local charities, not big corporations. FEMA's going to be out of here soon, but just try to help out however you can, and even just your support, and keep these people in your prayers, because they're going to need it.